My name is John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and I am your 35th President of these United States. Fellow citizens, we observe a victory today, not over a party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. We dare not forget that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge, and more. So let us begin anew, remembering that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. And finally, whether you are a citizen of America or citizens of the world, ask of us the same high standard of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking his blessing and help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Jack, here it is. The file on King. Wow, Hoover has been very busy.
Does he call him a communist?
Of course.
Said that he was a slacker in the second grade?
Why, yes.
Rebelled against an influential father.
Well, how could you know that?
Ditched out of school when skin dipping with his friends.
Jack, how could you know?
And women.
Well?
And more women?
Well, what's the point to all this?
Throw that in the trash. You could switch the name of that file with yours or mine, for that matter. The issue's not what overblown charges Hoover can mount against him. It's how long am I going to stand here with my hands tied while this whole country goes up in flames behind this race issue?
This is not our only pressing issue, Jack. There's Cuba, there's Indochina. The Republicans are just waiting for you to drop the ball with Khrushchev.
Drop the ball? What ball? They keep tossing me landmines. Why can't we just send the troops in to protect these Negroes and be done with it?
Jack, you know who got you elected. Men like Bull Connor and the Southern Democrats are responsible for you sitting where you now sit. And fighting about states' rights and the Negro issue, well, you know what that got Lincoln.
Lincoln was a Republican.
And what's that got to do with anything?
Republicans can't duck as fast as we Democrats.
That's very funny, Jack, but I'm serious.
You've seen the footage, Bobby. The water hoses, the dogs turned on children. It makes us look like Nazi Germany to the world.
So now you're worried about what we look like. Well, they're comparing this King fella to Gandhi.
Oh, he's about as dangerous as Gandhi, too. All that peace and love your brother stuff has no place in here in Cold War America.
Well, you just keep up with the jokes, because right now, they've got Gandhi in Alabama jail. And for better or worse, our hostile Southern Democratic brothers are operating within the law.
Oh, whose law? Whose law, Bobby?
Okay, technically. You're starting to sound like a man who's found God. You don't want to be a saint, Jack. Jesus didn't golf, and John the Baptist didn't sail around our island on weekends. Martyrs just have the worst personal lives.
So what can we do? He's Gandhi and I'm Lincoln, and our country goes up in the second Civil War because we're afraid of losing some votes?
I'm as committed to anyone to the poor, to the oppressed. I got this job, this great job. You're my brother. I have 7 beautiful children. And running the most powerful country on the world, well, it has its perks. But I'm not giving up my family football Sundays or yachting with my family with people I do not know. It's just a job. Now, I can see if something happened to one of us. Somebody put a bullet in your head.
Nice choice of words.
I'm saying that if something happened to one of us, I take it more personally. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're the Attorney General, counsel to the White House. So, counsel, go ahead. ahead and tell me how I can do nothing. I was a soldier, Bobby.
Of course, because they understand that hate and violence. But now love and peace, they got to put a stop to that. Can you imagine, Ralph, if some of the things we did got out?
Well, so what if they do? We never started this movement claiming to be saints. We were just some men who wanted to do some good.
Yes, that's right, that's right. We don't claim to be saints, but they make you a saint. And then they try to, well, they turn on you when you sit your head over these little tunnels. Ralph, you can get my speech. It's in the bed, the other half.
No. We're going to go home right now.
No, Ralph.
What is wrong with you? Don't you love your family? Because we surely love you. You, not the speech maker, not the headline maker. You're just someone for the politicians to hold up, the bigots to hate, the newspapers to sell headlines, and local causes get to raise money. What about you? What you get? What's Coretta get? Cold stone statue where her husband used to be? They don't care. They never did. It's always been that way, even way back in Julius Caesar's time. The fickle masses that'll bury the good you do. Live, Martin. Live for me and for everyone who loves you. Please, come home, Martin. Come home, please.
You know, ever since John Kennedy died, I keep thinking about this Bible verse. The streets will run with fire and blood, and a wailing shall go forth like none since the beginning of time. That's Old Testament.
Old Testament, that's crazy talk.
Ralph, did I ever tell you about my Uncle Marcus? He was in the Navy. And when we got to Memphis, some began to say the threats, or talk about threats that were out. And what would happen to me from some sick white brothers? Well, I don't know what will happen to me now, because we've got some difficult days ahead. My house has been firebombed. I have been bludgeoned with bricks and stabbed within a quarter-inch of my life, and I receive death threats many times a day. But that doesn't matter with me now, because I have been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned with that now. I just want to do God's will, and He has allowed me to go to the top of the mountain. And I've looked over, and I have seen the promised land. And I may not get there with you, but I want to tell you that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried, because my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Today, the nation mourns as beloved civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was shot outside his hotel in Memphis this morning. Riots have broken out in every major city in America. Looting, fires, and bloody violence. A new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Was blind.